When I start the recording, then it becomes a telepathic communication. This is something that the Hue does with us. And it begins to put your body in the sleep state, the trance state we call sleep, which you do every night anyway. So you're already a master of that. Since people on Earth are not taught specifically from birth to utilize faculties that bring back where they go when they leave their body every night, children and adults don't do it. They identify with the sleeping body and go unconscious with it. Or they just don't bring back the awareness of where they go, because where they go and what they do can't fit into the brain of a physical body anyway. You have to bring, it's the Atma itself that brings back these higher awarenesses to the physical consciousness and brain you have. And it has to impart that into the field of energy around your body, what people call the aura. It's really a big electromagnetic field. It's a big sphere around you. It's not just a little layer of colors around it like psychics think. It's not like that at all. And there's an energy field of a spherical nature around the Atma, comes out the South Pole, goes in the North Pole. And the energy that's moving around it is the Hue itself, in a certain form that allows that spherical Atma, or Earth, or planet, or moon, or sun to float in another ether, in another energy, creating an electromagnetic field like a North and South Pole, so it can literally float and be balanced in the omnipresent power. More advanced races understand this. They utilize that energy that is not nuclear atomic in nature to power their ships. On Earth, it's called zero-point or toroidal energy, the energy of the universe. Scientists today, some of the more classified ones, certainly even some academic ones now, understand that that energy they used to call dark matter is very powerful. It's one energy, they know that. It doesn't obey the laws of physics, but all the things that are in the laws of physics float and move and are suspended in this other energy. So we start off our journeys with this understanding. Why? Because we want to get our consciousness, imagination, the ability to see and know things beyond the extreme limited nature of what is on Earth, because people on Earth don't know very much about anything anymore. So they can't help each other. They certainly can't avoid destroying themselves on their own, because they would. So this nuclear war thing hasn't happened, not because people didn't push the button, they did, but the launch computers were shut down from space. It's very highly classified under disclosure. As it comes up, this will be disclosed to people. That people were kind enough to keep us from blowing ourselves up. That's really what's going on out there. Governments and religions today use this whole nuclear threat as a way to keep taxes going and keep the status quo where it is, even though they know it has to change or they're not going to survive. And this is known in galactic history. So the secondary implants are in the electromagnetic field that surrounds the outside of the Atma, never inside it. See, the perversion, the twisted thing, the fear, the overindulgence and lust in any form, meaning, for money and power, sex, whatever it might be, takes place in human beings on Earth in mass because they don't remember what they are that's running that body. It twists them. And then they have these images they're looking at subconsciously when they try to wake up. It says, don't you go here or we'll eat you alive. That was done through the misuse of science in the physical universe long ago, before the end of a great war in our galaxy, 500,000 years ago. Now, people have been suffering. In 500,000 years, how many people do you think a reptilian and gray race and a few others could sneak around outside the Galactic Alliance patrols and capture someone just for revenge because they lost the war, and then bring him to Earth and stuff him in a body here and tell him to reincarnate with no memory, figuring you could never get out of it, because that's what they did. People on Earth aren't the way they are for no reason. So Earth is not an example, the way it is, of most worlds out beyond it. Disclosure is important because then governments come clean. And they begin to introduce races from the stars that a few of them have been interacting with. Starts with the U.S. Space Force. That's all to do with outer space, or anything relative to outside of Earth's atmosphere. That was around for decades and decades and decades in a parallel classified space program that ran parallel to NASA. One was for the public PR, one was not. So that much is known, enough whistleblowers around that worked in those bases, that knew we were going to nuclear war and had their launch computers shut down. They know that. See, the thing about fear is it's artificial. It's a way to control things, keep things the way they are. So when we go on the journey, we're going to be going out in space, outside of Earth's atmosphere, into the hue itself, where there's no negative nature. You can't program any kind of image or imagination or negative or positive things in the energy that is the zero-point or toroidal energy, the energy of the universe. What people call divine spirit and pray to it all the time, which isn't the right way to do it. Because it keeps them infantile, childish, underneath the big thumb of a great big being somewhere that they pray all day long to get favors from while they're eating their dead animals who suffered and died so they could eat flesh. Think about a reptilian eating a human alive. They justify it because humans eat any kind of mammal. Torture them, raise them, they don't care about them, shoot them, eat them. See the problem with that? It creates a negative karma on Earth in the entire atmosphere that never ends. People on Earth do not have a high enough energy anymore to change that. So it has to come from outside the planet to fix it. From beings and races and technology that know how to clean that out of the atmosphere, recharge the oceans, have ships land. This has to happen or people will not survive to be a spacefaring race on this planet. And if it was destroyed, the Earth would be fine, and then it would be recolonized again. The one thing that has changed in recent years is the cessation of the polar flips of this planet every 100,000 years. That's over now. Golden Age to Iron Age, it's all done. There won't be another polar flip here. Earth has been, unfortunately, retarded in this way, unlike other worlds that don't flip their poles in hundreds of millions of years. So Earth and its people, if they're here, aren't here by their own free will. No one comes here voluntarily. There's no contract with God that says, yes, God, I would like to come to Earth and be dumber than a board, not remember anything, run a body with all my parents and everybody around me, keeping me materialistically focused, and then you're supposed to get it right somehow when you don't have any of your higher faculties or your other lives you've lived or lives you've lived out in the Galactic Alliance were far more evolved that you lived previous to this life that was taken from you. When you used to fly spaceships, you used to have bodies several thousand years old. See, that's how life is out there. That's not the way it is on Earth. Not yet. This work has spent decades just seeding the background of bringing energy into this world in order for us to be able to have what we're doing now and not have satellites shut off. They never interfere with my internet. They never interfere with Zoom. I don't get any threatening emails. Men in black don't come to my door. Ever. Why? I bring this up to people, but they can't comprehend it because most of the people in the UFO and extraterrestrial and disclosure communities, who I don't work with for a reason, are busy peddling fear now to make money. They get caught up in it. They start out with good intentions, and then they just peddle fear. If you listen to them talk, now they've got some kind of fear in there at the end of their reptilians, Antarctica with Nazis. There's a good one. But it makes money. Religions and governments make money peddling fear, or they don't make money. Allopathic medicine was created in the turn of the century and implemented worldwide by the richest industrialists to control the curriculum at universities, the PhD programs. They're taught how to distribute drugs with side effects that address symptoms but never cures, because cures don't make money. Cures will not make money. You put out a cure for cancer, probably 200 million people worldwide will lose their jobs overnight. So governments consider it a national security risk. Stupid thinking, backward thinking, asinine as hell, but that's the way they are. I've never been an enemy of the United States or any other government. I'm more of a friend in wanting them to change for their own survival. That's why I came here. We start out these journeys with the hue. We actually have been on the journey for a while already. I think you know that. This telepathic stuff is imparting information to you and awakening it that you will never forget. Oh, thank you for having the courage to do it, even at half price, because it takes courage to step through this door. You got everything in your life and your upbringing against you doing it. The proof that you have command over implants and reptilians and greys and negative technology and always have as an Atma, even though you've been severely manipulated to not believe it or trust it anymore, is that you have on this Zoom call with me right now. Even though you have a primary and secondary implants trying to keep you from it. Even this little internet mistiming thing is part of that. We're getting around it anyway. That's what you need to remember here, that you're already changing. That you're able to do stuff now that you couldn't do a year ago. This is really important. I'm going to send out the hue. Send it out with me privately, silently in your own being. Just match the tones in your imagination. That's all that's required. Now what this does, because it's brought through me from masterful beings I work with, through you, and it stimulates a doorway to open in the pineal gland, the center of the brain. And then the primordial ancient you itself, the omnipresent living consciousness, the pure energy of source, begins to move a channel. And you're really above your body near the ceiling right now. But we want to make you aware that that's what you're doing. Get that back in your awareness. Secondary implants must be out of the way first. And then, if you're willing, we'll go on to what's called a primary implant removal, which takes place aboard a Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds Emerald Star Cruiser, which is permanently stationed in the ice rings that make up the rings around planet Saturn. And it's permanently in our solar system to keep us from destroying ourselves, number one. And to also prevent us from going very far in space the way we are. We're too destructive. Way too destructive. There's no one government here for people from other worlds to deal with. So you don't see a unilateral approach from extraterrestrial races to any one government. Eisenhower met with them, both good and bad, in his time. Scared him to death. I mean, this guy was not ready for that. So their generals and him voted with 35 other countries to classify above top secret anything to do with extraterrestrials. They wanted to have time to reverse engineer the things that were given to them or crashed to be able to defend this planet from bad guys, was the thinking at the time. They just came out of World War II. That's the only way they could think. Then they did one of the dumbest things anybody's ever done in history. A murderous thug killed millions of people. As a Nazi SS officer was Wernher von Braun. Him and the scientists that were given an edge over their scientists they didn't earn from little gray guys, breaking a treaty, giving it to them, especially nuclear bomb technology. That they didn't develop that on their own. We weren't anywhere near that. They brought these scientists and split them up with Russia and the United States, pardoned them, gave them whole towns, German towns in the States, and put them in the head of our NASA space program and in the head of our private classified space program that they could keep from the public, to work with weaponry and reverse engineering things, not just to keep it from the public, but to keep it from our enemies. communist countries, people that want to blow us up, or terrorism. So there are justifiable reasons why they classify all that. But they are using it as an excuse to keep it classified when it's no longer necessary. So what you're seeing about disclosure is not being initiated by anybody on earth, not Trump, not Elon Musk. They're just getting a certain kind of protection right now, a certain way of allowing them to make decisions on common sense without fear. That's the difference you're seeing. They didn't earn it. They're just in the right position at the right time to be benefited in this way. So they're getting help. I don't think either one of them know about or have met with any extraterrestrials yet. They could. Potential's there for it. I'm going to send out the hue now. I think we're ready. Just do it with me. Just 5 of them for now. That just brings the old body into the trance state called sleep. Doesn't matter if a truck drives by outside or a plane goes overhead, you'll hear it. The sensory apparatus of the body still work when your brain is basically shut down, which means your heart's working, your blood's pumping, you're breathing, but the body's an automatic. There's a couple from the Galactic Alliance who actually leave their bodies. They don't bring an astral body to stand beside you. That's an illusion. They bring a form that looks human, dressed, appears to be about 36 years of age, male and female, long hair to their shoulders, slightly bigger, beautiful, crystal clear eyes than Earth humans, slightly pointed ears, not like Spock, just slightly. It's a Caucasian couple in this case, or what you would call Caucasian. They're from a star group. They're from star systems farther behind and beyond what people call the Pleiades, or the Pleiades, which is 7 big stars, blue, young, hot, white giants. People can see with the naked eye from Earth at certain times. There's more than 7, but it is from star groups beyond them in that direction. So all they're doing is they have their bodies sitting in the Emerald Star Cruiser in a lounge chair in an observation lounge, their heads tucked to their chests, male and female, and they're out of their bodies. The bodies are asleep. What they do is come here and they do one thing. They are there not to interfere in your free will or invade your consciousness or read your mind or anything like that. They're here to keep your subconscious fears turned off for this journey. So that when you go out into this journey, what you're bringing back to your body on Earth is beneficial to you. As it moves through you for your benefit, it will continue on through you, out into the world, into its atmosphere for the benefit of others. This is the way we must work with the hue in order to get ourselves free again. We have to be beneficial to all life in this way. We're not the one power that can change anyone, but we can be consciously aware enough to allow this to pass through us for our benefit and let it go out and change everyone. We don't do that. It does. This couple, I'm going to describe them for you so you can visualize them. And that's really just the Atma, you, hovering above your body right now, seeing them. Because it's the Atma that sees energy that is not physical matter. It's energy more real than physical atomic energy and atoms and molecules. But it's the energy behind all that. Chantal and Tonatiuh appear to be 35 to 38 years old compared to Earth people, but they're many hundreds. Their bodies are many hundreds of years old. They don't age like Earth people. Their science is much more evolved. So the telomeres at the end of the DNA do not shrink when their cells divide. On Earth people that have been messed with and manipulated, and two-stranded DNA, when the cells divide, the telomeres shrink. That's called aging. That's all it is. They do not have this kind of problem on their worlds. He has long blonde hair and robin's egg blue eyes, slightly larger than Earth human. She has long brunette hair and emerald green eyes, slightly larger than Earth human. They're very experienced, well-trained technicians, scientists, and considered to be master teachers. So when you're near the ceiling out of your body, all you're doing is using the same faculty you use to see yourself imagining going to the store. When you get in your car, your body goes to the store. But it's the Atma that is directing this, not anything in the brain. The brain is not your personality. The brain has no ability to imagine anything. There's no bunch of brain cells on one part of the brain that project images on a view screen on the other side. Silly. That's not what it's for. So when you imagine anything, you, the being, are doing this. You're looking out into the multidimensional universe in a limited, suppressed manner, and just being limited to seeing things on Earth. But the same ability allows you to see anything anywhere in the multidimensional universe. The principle is this. The first sound behind creation, the audible sound behind creation, has a tone to it. It's like a high note of a flute. As it gets down into the physical universe and those dimensions, it becomes more like a deep rumbling or humming, like soft thunder without lightning. As it gets up into the astral plane, it sounds more like the ocean crashing gently on a beach. That sound. Gets in the causal, it's like water running over stones in a brook or stream, and so forth. You get up in the mental and etheric, it's more like chimes or crystal bells and things like that. Humming of millions of bees. It's a different way that the one sound makes itself known in those dimensions. So you're up near the ceiling looking down on your body just to see what it looks like sleeping there. You look to your left and to your right and you see two beings, one male, one female. They're spherical atmas just like you. And they're showing you out in front of them, standing up in the air, a body human form that looks to be about 36. But the male's perfectly handsome, flawless. The female's perfectly beautiful, flawless. And then you realize you're projecting a body form out in front of you that you've always known how to do. But when fear is turned off, you're able to do it and know it. And it looks flawlessly handsome, about 36. This is a prototype form we used before lower bodies with DNA were even made. Satnam shows us a body form he still has. He doesn't have a body in the lower worlds at all. No etheric, mental, causal, astral, or physical body at all. So you're near the ceiling realizing these beings are doing only one thing for you. They can see the problems in your electromagnetic field, both around the Atma and around the body. And they're keeping those things which normally would be stimulated and turned on to misdirect you away from getting free. They keep them turned off. They don't get rid of them. They need you to go through the experience of having that done with them. You have to be co-creatively involved if it's not going to benefit you. The sound of this humming is flowing down through the ceiling. There's a pale pastel golden white light moving down through the ceiling, through all of you, down through your physical body. There's a big spherical energy field of the hue around your body, out the bottom of the spine, the top of the head. It's much wider than what psychists think of as little layers of color near your body. There are layers of color, but it looks more like that sphere of the Atma. They can see the primary, and the primary implant, by the way, is in two pyramidal forms. One above the north pole of the atma you are, one pointing downward below the south pole. And it doesn't actually get inside the atma, but it creates images around it that keep you from accessing what you knew before you were put on Earth against your will, with little or no memory intact. The reptilian grays are not an issue or a problem for Earth anymore. They've been removed from our solar system and from Earth. There's none in hidden bases on Earth right now. And that was done more than 25 years ago. But it was not done by the US or any other classified government. It was done from outside of Earth to prepare the way. The effects of subconscious implants and fear still affects everybody on Earth. They're still left with the problem. But the source of the problem that was doing it illegally has been removed. Not even in our solar system. So you see, we really don't have a future in space, playing among the stars the way we are. First, we have to become normal again. The energy moving down through you goes through your body, into the field of energy around it, out through the walls of where you live, and it continues out into the atmosphere of Earth, so you can begin to be a co-creator and allow it to charge up Earth's depleted H2O. Simple as that. There's a bright flash of light and you find yourself in space, out in space, looking in the distance at planet Earth with its polar ice caps, oceans, land masses, the dead barren moon with meteor craters all over it, orbiting the planet but not turning on its axis at all, which is abnormal as hell. Earth's gravity and suns and other planets should have it doing something, but it does not turn at all. It's broken. So it needs to be repaired as well. And out in space, we see a white golden light everywhere. Between the Earth, the Moon, the Sun, the stars, the billions of stars of the Milky Way galaxy. Clearly visible as big blue stars and big yellow ones much bigger than Earth. Little red dwarfs, red giants, they're all out there. Earth has a single sun. But most stars in our Milky Way galaxy are binary or trinary. Means there's a big sun, a smaller one orbiting it, or three suns. Big one, smaller one, and a smaller one. Unless it's a red giant, then it can be quite large. But it has less power or heat and a different kind of gravity. So on these planets where we go visit, there are no polar ice caps on their worlds. Big advantage if you're on a bigger planet than Earth, and you've got millions of years to evolve with triple sun, you're going to evolve a genetic structure far more advanced. Normal humans outside of Earth have 4-stranded DNA. Did you know that? Not just 2. People on Earth and the twin-stranded DNA was manipulated long ago. Some of the genomes, higher faculties, turned off, or the genome shut down, like the one for aging. Oh, the telomere shrinks every time the cells divide. That's aging, but it is not normal. Shouldn't be happening. Part of disclosure underway is about changing all this. Disclosure has to be brought about from billions of beings from outside of Earth that have the will, recently acquired, and the motivation to recover friends and relatives they lost a long time ago that are now on Earth reincarnating with no memory. Very simple. You're standing in a circle of beings. You and I'm next to you. But there's a being, a man and a woman beside me as well. That's Don Tim and Lam Tim. Chantel and Tonal Till are standing beside you. They're just here to go on this journey with us. And it is that couple, Shantiel and Tonaltiel, that would be removing the secondary implants. I don't do that. I can, but I have a body on Earth like everyone else. So I don't want anything from Earth influencing their work, even accidentally. They weren't born on Earth. They don't have subconscious minds. They cannot be misdirected or manipulated or controlled by anybody on Earth in any way. They're way more evolved than that. There are other masterful beings here with us. Ramu is here. You asked me about Rebazar. I think you mentioned the name. But that's not what I call this being. I know this being by a far older name. Ramu is a name that being had back in Lemuria before the poles flipped and destroyed it 100,000 years ago. There are many things people don't understand on Earth. And researching the gurus that teach on Earth right now, the phenomena or fad of that, I don't see any evidence that any of them are putting out any awareness whatsoever of getting beyond the lower worlds. They don't know it. Most of them don't even know about the hue or what it's designed to do. It's designed for a person to be connected to it, to then journey back beyond the void known to Buddhists, far beyond it, all the way back home. Opelum, who is from planet Oceania, is human, about 6 feet tall, long jet black hair to his shoulders, emerald green eyes, slightly pointed ears, looks to be about 40. Galactic Alliance uniform on. Blue, gray, silken fabric. The footwear is built into the uniform. It's a single piece thing you step into and put it on. It's got a Galactic Alliance symbol on his right chest area. Silver golden galaxy. Above the nucleus of that galaxy is hovering a four-sided golden quartz-capped pyramid. And above that, 3 cobalt blue stars in triangular formation. It's because Opelum was a masterful being of 500,000 years ago who inspired the creation of the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. It was just called the Galactic Alliance before that. And the being behind him encouraging that was a very masterful being named Ambassador Turellian. It's an ambassador from the Say-Rays human race to the Galactic Alliance, not to Earth. When Opelum raises his right hand, he'll show you webs between his fingers. Otherwise, he looks perfectly human, but he has pale blue skin. Like a Krishna, but not quite so exaggerated. And underneath their neck, high up in the back of the top of their throat, are 3 little slits. They have evolved with the ability to breathe underwater or on land. And yet the genetics are so similar we could mate with them, even now. Not that they'd want anybody on Earth, but that point is that it goes back in history. The being standing in the middle of the circle of beings, and there are other master teachers here with us, is 18-foot tall Ambassador Turellian. Now, he doesn't have a physical body to leave. He mocks this up out of the pure omnipresent power. It's stored in one of the teardrops near the white core of his being. Billion years ago, the Say-Rays race evolved themselves to break down the molecular structure of their bodies and store it. When they want to do something, carry out a mission, show themselves here, represent what they want us to see, what they look like. He chose what he looked like before the body was stored, let's put it that way. When he wants to mock one up, he just pulls out this DNA, fills it with the hue around him, manifests the body. You could actually walk up and touch him if you were on Earth and he wanted to walk up to you. Scare the hell out of him. He's 18 feet tall. We have Say-Rays DNA in us as human beings on Earth. So does the Galactic Alliance personnel. So do the Mantis. So do the Whites. So do the Tall Grays. So do the Reptilians. so do Nordic, so do all of these terms that people have come up with. They all have Seres Dina. The Drens, who aren't even human, who are here as master teachers. If you look above Torellian, you'll see a big, beautiful, spherical Atma hovering there. That's who he is. And above him, Etta and Din, 3 feet long from the cute snouts to the tip of their glowing tails, sticking out behind them, standing upright on their hind legs, their strong, pale green skin, tails glowing like crystal opal in bright sunlight, big bulbous blue eyes, cute as the dickens, courageous to a fault. And the Atmas are hovering above those forms. And they have these body forms back on Oceania, where Opellum comes from. Now, Oceania is located on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, in one of the spiral arms. It is 4 times bigger than Earth. It's mostly water covered with a few islands near the equator. It has 3 moons the size of Earth orbiting it. No polar ice caps. And they circle a trinary sun system. Remember I said that most of the suns outside of Earth are binary and trinary? The closest sun to us, what is it? Not Alpha Centauri, Sirius, no, what is it?
Alpha Centauri?
Well, it's the closest sun to us is a binary star system. It's 2 suns, smaller one orbiting a bigger one. That's the closest one to us. You get further out and they're trinary. So more advanced life are living on worlds where we all originally came from, on trinary sun systems. Remember that, it's important. In space, you're simply being in the omnipresent you. The core of your being, the white core, is made of exactly the same energy. And it's the same as the energy that comes from the source behind all life itself. It's identical. You're like a individual drop out of an entire ocean of the same energy. And that ocean, that omnipresent field of energy, has never changed. It's still there. We still live in the source energy. The rest is illusion in a way. We never left. We are multidimensional capable beings. We can run numbers of bodies at once. You can run an etheric body, which is almost transparent, really. Mental body, a causal body, an emotional astral body. You can run a physical body. As one individual Atma. So we gain experience in all these higher levels of physical law to learn. All emotion comes from the astral body. You're living a life running on the astral plane. Next major division above the physical universe. It's a multi-dimensional quantum physics kind of level universe. In the physical universe, there's 144 parallel dimensions before you even get into the astral. Oceania is in the 3rd higher parallel dimension of the physical universe. The craft that move around the universe can move between these dimensions. So the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds is made up of worlds on all these levels. It's not astral. There is no physical dimension ship that can travel into the astral. You want to play in spacecraft in the astral, go to the astral plane and play in spacecraft there, etc. So the only thing that's really free to move between these planes is you. The real you. And it's never been limited from moving between these things, except that it has been caught and killed and tortured and played around with and misuse of science so that you're afraid to remember. The programs we call implants are artificial and implanted. The ones that are removed today are artificial torture, terror, and death. They aren't experiences you actually had. The problem is they are masking 3 lifetimes out in the Galactic Alliance where you had a much higher human form, where an advanced scientist knew how to pilot craft, knew all this stuff long ago, and had it taken from you. So there's no negative nature in the 3 lives that will be revealed to you behind those secondary implants today. We're going to go into a certain part of the journey of that life in each one. And once that's done, these oval-shaped white lights connected by a beam in a triangular formation in the electromagnetic field that surrounds you, not in you. Those are going to be turned off, and we're going to go explore them. Et-En-Din are hovering up above the spherical Atma that is Turelian. Hovering above him, higher up, is Satnam. Why he chose to come all the way down here and hang out for these journeys, that's his choice. I don't know that he never did this before. So he becomes kind of like a guide for us to go up through a created interdimensional doorway between the top of the physical universe and all the way bypassing the lower planes into the void and higher. The point is, we want to get above the lower illusions of Maya that exist strongly in the lower world planes, astral, causal, and etheric. We want to get above that into the energy that starts with the void that has no negative nature, never has. We want to plug ourselves into that and then bring that back to Earth. That's what changes people. Nothing else will. Light C is a little Chinese master. He's on the opposite side away from you and I in the circle. A little red maroon robe and little esoteric symbols, a little Fu Manchu type hat, a little Fu Manchu type beard. About 5'5", 5'6", short guy. Brilliant being. He's showing you a body form that he wants to show you. Above him is the Atma. This being only has a physical form in the etheric plane. He works there, and he works above the void, past Satnam's realm, into the U Expansion Ray Academy, where he is the guardian and caretaker teacher of the Big Pyramid, which is headed down the white stone roadway from the 6 snow-covered mountains in the center. First right turn into a clearing. There's a big tree of life in the center of that pyramid, and it connects to a much larger tree of life, many dimensions above that, in the realm of Agam Parusha. And we need permission from him to go through that tree of life there, to journey back home into the source itself, or higher. So if you look above Satnam, there's an hourglass-shaped, golden, clockwise whirling energy vortex made of the pure hue. You can see right up through the shaft of that hourglass-shaped thing, and on the other end of it, you can actually see a brilliant, but what I call pale blue, cobalt blue, luminous space. That's the void. Now this has already been created by these beings and myself before this journey. But you and I and them are going to brighten it up and charge it in a way with our co-creative input so that we can go up there. But we're not going to go there until we deal with these secondary implants. The couple beside you are turning you around to face out in space away from Turelian, between the Earth and the Moon. You are a physical form you're showing us, about 36, has eyes and ears, doesn't need to breathe oxygen, but it has all the perceptions of a human being, and many more. And you're looking up and seeing the Atma you are, hovering at a distance above you, out in space. Spherical Atma. You can see a golden white light energy field emanating from around the Atma. It comes out the South Pole, just like it does around the planet Earth. Circles way out and around and comes in the North Pole of the Atma. That's also made of the hue. It's set up as an electromagnetic field so that you can float in this omnipresent energy relative to everything else. That's how planets and moons and suns and stars create these gravitational axes to float in another energy. That's how it's done. The energy that they float in, including you, is not atomic or nuclear, has no atoms or molecules at all. It's the finer energy behind it all. Out here in space, you can hear the humming sound of the hue as the hue makes in space. This couple, Shantial and Tonatial, are escorting you, the physical looking form, up towards this Atma. And we're moving you right into the left third, 2/3 out in that field of energy, in this golden flowing energy. And you can see there's a white, thick oval sphere of light. There's a beam, like a tube of white light, connected to another one and another one in a triangular pattern outside of the atma. These contain mental images of torture and death and intimidation. They were not your own experiences, so we do not play with looking at them. We don't care what's in them. They're bringing you up right in the field until you bring your face right up to one of these oval white spheres, and then the whole thing turns off. You can see the tube of light is like a dark thing now, like a neon tube. And they take their hands, one male, one female, the palms of their hands together, and place it under this oval white sphere. And then they just move your face right into it. Remember, this projection of a human-looking form is really coming from the core of your being as an Atma. So it's the way you utilize this form to perceive things that are in form that is not the Atma, which isn't made of matter. So if you're going to look at a past life or incarnation, you're going to use this physical appearing form in conjunction with the Atma to perceive it and understand it. Sight, taste, touch, smell, sound, distance, location, the whole bit that you do on Earth. As your face moves into this, you realize you are now moving through space. You're looking from some perspective, you're seeing yourself in a very long, oval-shaped, mile-long Galactic Alliance spacecraft, the way they looked over 100,000 years ago. Crystalline centers that rise up in higher crystalline towers from the lower ones on the outer edge. They have open launch bays on each end. It's just big. Pale blue antigravitic light surrounding them. And it's moving in towards the planet Earth over 100,000 years ago. And you're standing next to a woman. These are co-commanders of a ship at the time. And you're coming down into the atmosphere. Actually, you're in a geosynchronous orbit, and then the land masses look different than they do today. There are no polar ice caps. It's a big continent centered over the equator. Another one 2/3 its size on the other side of the planet. Well, that's Lemriel, as it was 67,000 years ago. It had already been around for what? 10, 20, 30, 40, 35,000 years at that point. So you look at yourself as an Atma, visiting this former existence you had. And your body's about 7 feet tall. Handsome looking, the woman's beautiful. The hair is a dark brown to your shoulders. The eyes are emerald green. The woman's hair is dark brown to her shoulder. Her eyes are emerald green. You have slightly pointed ears like an elf. You're wearing Galactic Alliance uniforms. Now that's about 135,000 years ago. No. Yeah, that's right, because the poles flipped and those continents were destroyed. New land masses rose up back at that time period. Now that didn't happen for another 65,000 years, past the point at which you are coming to Earth in this life. There are bridge control people monitoring crystalline type controls at consoles around you in an oval. You can see a curved bridge control windows, portals, rectangular 1 and 2, long rectangulars 1 to each side, and the curved front end of the hull of the ship. These are double-ended craft. They have control, bridge controls on each end of the ship. The next thing you know, You and this woman have left the bridge. Other people are taking over, and you're stepping over to a blue disc platform in the back of the bridge control room, and you're teleported, actually dematerialized and transported into a launch bay in the side of a 60-foot in diameter disc-shaped craft with 3 semi-spheric pods in the bottom, kind of a blue glass top, luminous pale blue light around the hull. It has a slight hum. And then you're inside the ship looking at these curved view screens. You're touching a faceted crystal control, a violet one, and the hull of the ship may be 6 feet wide. The entire circumference turns into your ability to see in 360 degrees outside the ship. So you and this woman and a dozen other personnel fly out the launch bay. You dart in a blur of light down into Earth's atmosphere. As you come out the other end, you realize the energy in the atmosphere of Earth is glowing. You're coming down towards this big continent centered over the equator, and you realize the ocean has a slight glow to it. And you're coming down into a Himalayan mountain area, much bigger than the Himalayas on Earth. And you're landing on a semicircular landing platform by a big, perfectly carved, horseshoe-shaped tunnel leading inside a big mountain. An oval doorway appears, and there's no crack before in the side of the hull, and a series of steps, like crystalline steps, run down to the floor of this blue stone floor, and you walk out with some others, and you're greeted by some monks. They look like monks back then, but not like monks you'd see on Earth with brown robes and all that. They have Galactic Alliance uniforms on. You're escorted inside this chamber. You're going back into a hollowed out interior of a mountain. So this was a Galactic Alliance base on Earth at that time. $165,000 years ago. In the center of this oval chamber, there is a circular octagon, 6 octagon sided, 4 foot high. Those are the walls around a semicircular control console with many different faceted control crystals that are touch sensitive. And you're going up with this woman, and you guys are both touching certain crystals. You're seeing a projected holographic type view screen, 3/4 of circle up in the atmosphere, and you're looking at another landmass on the other side of the planet. At the time that would have been Atla or Atlantis, which was a colony continent of Lemriel before they were destroyed. Not like people are taught on Earth. You can see there is a domed city, big clear dome on the screen, which is on the bottom of the ocean, near the continent of Lemriel. And you can see 3 golden-sided pyramids with quartz caps in the back third of this big city. It's on the bottom of the ocean. And you're suddenly walking down an ivory path inside this dome. There's an oval blue-green lake, luminous, semicircular mountain range in the back. Little blue-green waterfalls coming out of cavern openings, running into this lake. It's just there for the aesthetic pleasure of the people under the ocean. Then somebody walks up to you and this woman, and it happens to be Masterful with the pale blue skin. He's Oceanian. This is an Oceanian city on Earth at that time. The surface dwellers that evolved there did not know it was there. So you have an association with Masterful back then. You're probably a student of his, I would say. He raises his right hand. You see the little webs between his fingers, and he telepathically welcomes you to the Oceania away from the home Oceania world. And you find yourself coming out of this white, foot-wide oval of light, this one of 3 secondary implants. And what you just saw was the life that it was hidden behind it. There was no war. You were not involved in any war in that life. The Great War had come to an end 235,000 years before that. And then you watch this couple that has escorted you here in this golden white energy field around the outside of the Atma. They just close their fingers around this oval thing and it disintegrates into a violet powder that evaporates, becomes part of the hue expansion ray light around us. And then this couple moves you over around out in space to the other side of the Atma, so you can see past it and see Torellian and me and others standing in a circle. And Light C and Etta and Din and Ramu, they're all there. And they're moving you up inside this electromagnetic golden white light to the second secondary implant. And they're moving you right up to putting your face right in this one. And then you realize you are suddenly walking on a, what's the color? You're on a planet that has a huge curved beach, as far as you can see, running next to a calm, deep blue, luminous ocean. The sand is almost like sapphires. And the little individual grains are little sapphires. They're luminous, they're glowing. They're there for a reason. And you're simply walking along this sand in this tropical paradise. You look up and you see 3 suns in the daylight sky. There's a great big blue, hot white one. Looks like blue, a little bit of yellow, but it's mostly blue looking. You see it way up in the sky, even in daytime, because this world that you're at now is near the galactic core of the Milky Way, and many suns are closer together here than what Earth people experience. And then you're noticing, because you're a scientist, you're noticing there is a great big yellow sun, smaller than the blue one, a little further out, above the mountains in the distance. Above them is a mountain range on the far left side on a continental landmass. And to the right, further over, down the other side of this blue luminous beach that surrounds an island, is a smaller red sun, reddish. Here you're 10 feet tall. You have ivory-colored skin, silver-like hair to your shoulders, longer neck, longer fingers, longer torso, violet-colored eyes. Skin is like moonstone, beautiful. You're walking next to a female and half a dozen scientists, all of this same race. In the background on the island are 3 domes covering clear, very simple cities. There are 3 golden-sided pyramids in each one, quartz-capped, the back left side. And there's a long, smaller, ivory-colored dome building with the research laboratories. And then there's a fountain in the center of the dome in all 3. And they're in between clearings in tall, luminous jungle trees. This planet is called Cyphor. It just means, I guess, luminous awareness, something like that. And it's one of the planets of the Xiantranamus race, which is a race of human-like beings who run more than half of the Milky Way galaxy, who are working in harmony with the Galactic Alliance now. So you're the other side of the galaxy, nearer the galactic core, not in it. That lifetime, you lived to be over 17,000 years old, and then voluntarily left it for something else, another life in the Galactic Alliance. You dematerialize bodies, and then we don't bury them or burn them or anything like that. It's silly. We just break down the DNA and store it as an experience. So you were an advanced, amongst the woman that was by your side and others, you were an advanced interdimensional portal scientist. All Galactic Alliance personnel, all Xeon race personnel are cross-trained. They're all scientists. They can all pilot ships. They can take over if anything happens from any other person, whether you're a captain, an admiral, or a teleportation technician. They all are cross-trained. They all have photographic memories by the time they're 10. They have the equivalent of 10 PhDs to someone on Earth. They don't have subconscious minds. You didn't have one. This is a planet you had a life on a long time ago. This life on that world system was over 6.5 million years ago, long before the Galactic Alliance. Some of the beings standing by you have several million-year-old bodies unaged. The couple that actually runs the Xeon Galactic Alliance, you might say, have bodies 3.5 million years old. So the genetic science of not aging bodies is ancient. It's not new at all. It's simply understanding to map out the genomes of a DNA, make sure they have precise tone frequencies to turn off all those genomes, turn them all on, not suppressed or shut off. Then you use 100% of your brain. You're operating out of the body or in it when you want, and you have a photographic memory. That is what is normal. When they're pulling you out of this brief aspect of this life, and their hands are around this wide oval disc, and they just wiggle their fingers and it disintegrates in a white golden light, becomes part of the white golden light of the hue. Those 2 secondary implants are now gone. They're permanent. They cannot be ever put in you again. This is one-way ticket. It cannot be reversed by any science or technology or being. This change is coming to you from the source itself. This couple is now moving you around the backside of the Atma. Remember, you're in this physical appearing form that's flawlessly handsome, right? About 36, just like they are. Shantiel and Tonatiel. And they're bringing you up to this last secondary implant. It's in the energy field around the Atma, not in it. There's corresponding energy implants like this in the electromagnetic field around your body on Earth. But these are the source of them. So they're not even in the physical body. You can't fix them on Earth. You can't even do it in Earth's atmosphere. You have to do it outside in the hue, outside of the negative influences of Earth's atmosphere. Because there's no negative nature that can be programmed into the omnipresent field of you. It's not possible. All negative and positive experiences people create on each other, on animals, on plants, in the sky, and the environment, stays recorded in the water vapor inside the Earth's atmosphere. It does not go outside to another world. We're meant to be conscious, trustworthy custodians or caretakers of these worlds. Charging them, we're not supposed to be add negative crap in them. That's all wrong. So, this time, they're placing their palms, male and female, under your 2 palms, which are together, facing upward, palms up, and they're moving your hands under this last oval white light, and you're bringing your face into it yourself. You're co-creating this adventure. Remember, these secondary implants are turned off, so you're not prevented to see what's hidden behind them. In every case I've gone on these journeys, the 3 lives that are revealed to the few people that go on these one-on-one special journeys have always been nothing but constructive, uplifting, positive, wondrous, and way beyond Earth's understanding. They had no warfare. They had no negative nature. That came after. You are in a disc-shaped scout ship, 30 feet in diameter. There's only 4 people on it, 2 couples, male and female. sitting in white leather-like chairs around a semicircular control console, faceted crystal controls luminous, covering the spectrum of the rainbow. You're looking at a semicircular rectangular view screen. It's a holographic projection in the air inside the spacecraft. And you're looking through this to see what's outside the ship. You are moving at tremendous speed between some very large, giant, hot, blue, young stars. You're moving out through the seven sisters. There's seven, well, big blue giant stars that people can see from Earth, but there are many more than just the seven. And your ship is passing, darts between them, and then is beamed in a light across half the galaxy. And then you look down on the central core of the galaxy and you realize you're coming down into a very big planet near the galactic core, not in it, because that's a white golden light. It's a transformative generator between higher hue and lower hue. That's what galaxies are. They receive energy through these portals, these doorways, and distribute it out through the planets and galaxies and other worlds. The energies go out into the black void of space, which isn't black, as you know, and connects with energies from other galaxies. It's a communication system that is instantaneous, telepathic, in the creation in space. And you're coming down to this world. It has a pale lavender pinkish cloud cover. It's 4 times bigger than Earth, has 3 moons orbiting it. It's a trinary sun system, big blue one, big yellow one, smaller yellow one. And you're seeing all this as your ship darts down towards this atmosphere of this planet. And you realize that this is circling the 3rd orbital position around this trinary sun system. And you know that, and you've just communicated to a big white council chamber dome in a tropical city setting, pyramidal, spherical, crystalline structures, not cluttered, parks and waterfalls and rivers, golden type luminous ocean, calm, golden sands off in the distance toward the left. And there's a blue disk, 3 of them, off to the right. These are landing pads, and there's a great big dome, clear dome, between these 3 disks. One big ship, 300 feet long, cylindrical, like an Emerald Star cruiser, is hovering above one. A 60-foot in diameter Scout class vehicle is landed on another, and your ship comes down and lands on the 3rd one. The couples, the 2 of you that come out of this, and you look at yourself and you realize you're human looking. You have slightly tanned skin, yellow, golden eyes, not yellow, actually golden eyes. You're about 6 feet tall. You have a Galactic Alliance uniform on. You have just landed on planet Zetronami 1, which is the governing world of the entire Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. You've just come back from a mission. You come down an oval opening, down some steps, you and these couples. There's another smaller blue disc with a pedestal about 4 feet high. It has some oval, glowing green, blue, and red controls on top, and you walk up and pass your hand over the green one. The 3 of you are teleported away in a white golden light, and you materialize on another pad and come through a triangular opening and enter a huge arena. It's under a big, long, curved white dome that's translucent. You can see the 3 suns in the daytime sky. In concentric circles around, what you walk to is this big stage, like a foot-thick round blue stage. And you come up and stand on this stage, and then you're addressing 5,000 Galactic Alliance core members Their white gowns with their gold sash from their right shoulder to left hip. Their white leather-like chairs on 15 higher widening concentric levels on white stone. They're standing up to greet you. You're holding up a spherical device with a red ruby in it. And it's projecting an image of 5 other planets you just visited. And it's conveying information telepathically to the Galactic Alliance. And now this is happening 377,000 years ago. This happened to be your home world at that time. So you're coming home. You're scientists. Then you find yourself coming out of this white oval light. And this time, your palms are under it, with your hands together. And this male and female and all your hands together throw this white one up in the air, up in space. And then you're asked to send the hue into it. That's coming through Satnam from source, right through Terrellian, through you. And so the hue comes out of you. This couple beside you are doing this, and this third one just glitters away like dust. It becomes part of the white golden light around us. And you're standing facing Terrellian with this couple beside you. You can see the hourglass-shaped vortex way up high in space above Satnam. Might be a good idea if we took a little journey, direct projected, all the way up to the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, into the Tree of Life, and then maybe all the way to Source before we return, so we can bring some of that energy with us back. The sound around us in the white golden light is still humming, begins to change into the single high, lilting, hauntingly beautiful melody of a flute. Satnam begins to recede up into that vortex opening, the hourglass-shaped vortex. It has a blue-green luminous layer revolving slowly around it. Looks like water, but it's not. And then Light C and Et-Din and Terrellian and us in a circle. You can see Terrellian's closed fists with his thumbs up. There's a foot-thick, brighter golden white light around him. And he's creating an oval, transparent light field around all of us. There are several dozen beings here, by the way. You and me and Shantil and Tontil and Dantiam and Lamtiam and Ramu and Opelum, Et-Din and Lightsea, etc. There are also 2 silent mentor couples up by Satnam. You just begin to notice them. And they're receding up into this vortex. And we're suddenly shot up in a beam of light all the way up to the other side of this vortex. We come out speeding upward inside a massive pale blue luminous light. There's nothing here. That's why people call it the void. They think it's the realm of the Supreme Being. It's not. It is a pure hue energy field that creates a barrier between the upper realities where no negative nature exists and never has, and the lower created worlds of time and space. Lower meaning etheric, below the void, mental, causal, astral, and physical, and everything in between. And then the vortex below our feet, we look down and see it disappear. We're approaching a white diamond-like beach. It goes as far as the eye can see and curves in on itself, implying that it circles the circumference of a huge circular floating landmass. And Satnam is hovering above the jungle trees, the back of this lumen diamond-like beach. What looks like ocean water coming up to that beach is the void itself, the upper end of it. And we're hovering above these transparent tree trunks that are moving energy up and down them. You can see that a handful of this diamond-like sand moves up into the air, and one little round, polished diamond-like crystal, luminous, is shot into the white core of each of our beings, a gift from Satnam. It brightens the white light core of your being, makes it higher, brighter, more intelligent. It's like charging up someone who's got a low battery charge. And then we're moving over the top of the jungle, following Satnam, and these two silent mentor couples. When you look at the silent mentor couples, they have single colored pastel gowns on, blue, green, yellow, red, alternating male, female. Long hair to their shoulders, different colored skin. When you look at their faces, they turn and look at you, and there's bigger atmas hovering above them, 4 times bigger than us. Twice as many teardrop-shaped levels of faculties. And you can't see any facial features. All you can see is galaxies upon galaxies and levels. That's how they think. So the real silent mentor is this Atma, 4 times bigger than us. They run the mechanics of the multidimensional creation. They are escorting us. And we're moving over the top of the jungle until we come down to a clearing. We look down and see a 100-foot in diameter white stone floor surrounding a 15-foot in diameter white stone like alabaster fountain. There's a statue of Satnam standing in it. He's got his hands, palms open at his sides, facing downward, facing out. 2 gold bracelets on each of his upper arms. Golden eyes, not yellow. Bronze skin, looks to be about 36. And he's got a much bigger Atma hovering above him too. That's a device, because there's a white golden light like a cylinder of light coming down to the statue. It's coming out of his palms like a white golden luminous liquid, filling this bowl, the fountain, pouring over the edge in an even glistening sheet, and disappearing into the ground behind a circular donut-shaped flat white stone marble seat, 12 scrolled legs supporting. So Satnam is standing, hovering, pointing to the statue. Terrellian moves us all up into this shaft of light above the statue, and we're shot upward until we come out. We find ourselves heading into the distance toward a monstrously huge floating circular landmass. Has a white diamond-like beach around it, 6 snow-covered bluestone mountains in the center, way in the center, and a blue glass-like smooth as glass blue tower coming up in between those 6 mountains to a flattened oval center and a minaret point. There's a shaft of white golden light coming down to it too. These are doorways, interdimensional portals through which higher hue supports the creations below it. Comes from source. As we approach the shoreline, the diamond beach here is much brighter than in Satnam's realm. There's a blue-green luminous wave that's constantly moving and crashing around the outer circumference of this surrounding beach. It continues all the way around the outer circumference of the landmass and comes back to where it started. It never stops. It's the way the silent mentors maintain a field of energy for this landmass, floating in an even brighter, infinite, cobalt blue atmosphere or space. There are no suns or planets or moons or stars here. We are in pure energy. There is no negative nature here. We cannot bring anything but what we are as the Atma here, which has no negative nature, which means you never had a negative nature. That's all bullshit programmed into the field of energy through which you see the universe distorted, that's outside of the Atma. That is why we got rid of those 3 secondary implants. The 3 lifetimes that were revealed to you have a much higher intelligence and capability than what you have here. 4-stranded DNA or more in the bodies you ran that. So this was in your background long ago. Now you're going to be bringing back more of this wisdom and intelligence to Earth, and you're going to be able to understand more of these journeys as if you always knew them, because you always did, even if you were made to forget them. And we suddenly zoom over the top of this massive land. When you look at the base of these 6 mountains as we approach the center, you can see horseshoe-shaped golden tunnels at the base of all of these mountains. There are white stone roadways coming out of it, straight as an arrow, that run through the entire jungle and mountainous countryside. They're like coming out of the hub of a bicycle tire. And down each roadway, left and right are clearings with training facilities. That is the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. It is created in a special parallel dimension between the top of Satnam's realm and the 6th realm. And it's a training facility so that silent mentors, like the 2 couples that are with us, can rub shoulders with master teachers like Turellian and others, and move energy between the 2, right between us, in a circle around them. So we get to experience a little bit of what it's like to be a silent mentor, what it's like to be a master teacher. This is how they teach. The one source energy moves through them, and part of their consciousness comes through us, respectfully, and we also help them. In returning to source, we're actually helping them find new ways to do things because we're co-creators. We're going down the western roadway away from the Hue Administration Tower, the Blue Tower. Taking the first right turn into a clearing down the western roadway, and there's a big 4-sided golden quartz cap pyramid in there. Circular blue transparent glass doors in the side face of this pyramid, and a blue stone curving like a snake towards this door. We find ourselves hovering in front of this, and these glass-like doors part in the middle and go into the side of the wall of the pyramid. And Light C comes out and greets us with his hand up. This little Chinese guy. And we find ourselves suddenly inside the pyramid and around Turellian, standing by a huge silver glowing, silver golden tree. Roots go down into this foot-thick golden quartz floor. Sometimes it's blue, depends on how they turn it on. But the tree trunk roots go down into the ground of the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. The top of this silver tree, like a fir tree, is in the center of this massive pyramid. The very top of the tree touches the inside point of the pyramid. The trunk of the tree is transparent, and Light C's pointing to it. There's a golden white energy racing up and down the trunk of this tree. And you can see all the needles on all the branches glowing. And when you pay attention to one needle or the next, as we move towards the trunk of the tree, as a group, passing right through the branches and needles, you can see that each little needle represents a world, or a galaxy, or a place, somewhere in the lower worlds of time and space. This is called the Tree of Life. It's a way of coordinating and knowing where all these things are in a simple kind of rooted tree system. Trees on Earth, fir trees and redwood, they're all patterned after this tree. That's why they look like they do. We move into the trunk of the tree and we're shot completely upward at tremendous speed. We got permission to do this through Light C. And we suddenly find ourselves coming out of a much more massive golden silver tree, silver golden tree. Hundreds and hundreds of feet tall, roots bigger than homes, going down into a fiery energy. Now this energy is red and green and orange and lavender and purple, and it's moving around sort of like gargoyles coming out of the ground, disappearing in the background, things manifesting and disappearing. This is the raw power of eternity. There's a massive white, it's hard to describe what this being is, Agam Purusha. He regulates the raw power of eternity from source above here, and like a concentric generator sends it all down into the lower worlds. Through all of these doorways are interdimensional portals that were created from this kind of a place, or created here to work from this kind of a place fairly recently, that connect to the galaxies, the galactic cores, and other interdimensional doorways that exist in profuse numbers throughout the lower dimensions of time and space. This being is greeting us. When I first met Agam Purusha, I befriended him and merged inside him. I was still a whole being. You could see me floating around in this much bigger, more dimensional levels of teardrop-shaped faculties, and we became friends. You can ask to be his friend if you wish to. Most people are terrified of this being. Of course, you can't bring any fear with you up here anyway. He's giving us permission to go into this massive, transparent, luminous, golden white trunk of this bigger tree, and we're all shot upwards again. The next thing we see is something so massive, it's a brilliant cobalt blue space. And in the center of it looks like a golden silver galaxy turning on its axis. There's a big nucleus, bright light, and we're moving towards it as a group of beings. That is what we call Prime Creator or Source. Just above Agampurusha's realm. We have to get permission from him to enter here. And then we're moving between what we thought were individual stars circling this center. And then we realize these are massive beings circling a center. Look like us, but much bigger, deeper, the whole bit, but similar. There's lots of space between these beings, like two stars in a galaxy. And then we're shot right into the center of a hollowed out 1/3 of the interior. And there's a white, circular, luminous white island floating there. And hovering above it is this massive spherical being or presence. Thousands of teardrop-shaped levels covering the spectrum beyond what you can see on Earth. And there's a white core in the center of it. And we are moving right through individual teardrops of these faculties, these really beings. And then we're in the middle of the white core. And we're floating there. And the white core of our being is identical to the white core of what we call Prime Creator. And you can hear a big, deep baritone voice mixed with some crystal and angelic quality of a feminine voice in the background. And it says, "Welcome home." And you look around and you realize you're one of those stars out there circling this center, and you never left. And then you suddenly find yourself in space, all the way down the physical universe around Terrellian, Ramu, Opelum, Etendin, myself, the Galactic Alliance couple beside you, the same beside me. And you can see Earth. Only it's not the Earth you left. It has a big continent center over the equator like Lemriel. But this isn't the planet Earth you're familiar with. It has another continent 2/3 its size, center of the equator. You can see right through the planet. There's no polar ice caps here. The moon circling this Earth has atmosphere and oceans and little rivers and little dome cities. No polar ice caps, turning on its axis, orbiting the planet. Down near the southern pole, about 1/3 of the way up where this big continent dips down there, there's an upward curved, half-moon shaped, glowing emerald green beach. You can see it from space, and it's drawing us. You look inland 2 miles from, you can see it right from space. There's a single snow-capped mountain off to the right, a couple miles inland, down a straight moss-covered path that divides the forest. To the left is a dome on a lower plateau covering 3 golden-sided quartz pyramids, quartz-capped. This is a theme that runs throughout the Galactic Alliance and many world systems. Domes over pyramids. It goes back billions of years, not new. And you've looked down and you find your toes wiggling in emerald green glowing sand, a foot above the sand. And I'm there. Ramu's here, Satnam's standing there. Terrellian's offshore in the glowing pale blue-green ocean, standing up to his knees in this water with his thumbs up, with his glowing light around them, smiling at us. Remember, he's the big spherical hover buddy above the body form. He shows us. And Satnam picks up a handful of these little round, polished, emerald green glowing crystals, and he throws one into the white core of each one of us. Goes out to the green layer, starts to turn on some of the teardrops, which are comprehension. Then you find yourself, if you look inland, you can see that way inland, there's a huge mountain range, bigger than the Himalayas, in the center of this continent. This is where Ramu comes from. And a city, Agamdes, in a circling mountains in a paradisical location, kept that way. So he's on planet Earth, but in the third higher parallel dimension of Earth, where this is. The moon as it is here around this planet will become the moon that we have now that is dead. It'll be patterned after this place. No negative things in the atmosphere at all. Then you find yourself hovering near the ceiling with Chantil and Tonaltil hovering beside you. They smile at you and disappear. You see a white golden light still coming down through your ceiling. You can hear the humming. It's passing through the pineal gland. It's moving through the energy field that circles your body. There were three oval white secondary implants here connected to the ones around the Atma in space that are gone. The energy moves through you for your benefit and then continues through the wall of your house out into Earth's atmosphere, and you are being a co-creator with source energy to help bring about this unexpected transformation for Earth we call disclosure. That's how it works. That energy goes to 3 pyramids stationed on Earth now that were put there that are not made of physical matter. Classified military on Earth know it's there. They can't do anything with them. There's no weapon that'll work. Nothing. They can't do anything. They're quite large. 2 are on the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans. 1 is in a hollowed out interior in the mountains in the Himalayas. The Himalayas you know about. And they're beamed to a bigger pyramid hovering stationary between 2 stable asteroids. It's all moving in the orbit of a planet at high speed. As the asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter that was a planet before it was blown apart. And then it's beamed to pyramids that have been appearing between individual stars in our galaxy, Andromeda and many others. And then it's beamed to the central axis, white golden light core of the axis of the galaxy, and sent back to source, where we just came from. So we're back. When you're ready, open your eyes.
That was quite a journey, I have to say.
Well, you know, I normally don't have time to take people through 3 lives and then take them all the way to source. But I had a feeling you kind of should do that.
Yeah.
Now, these are things that you once were. You aren't the life you're living now or the body you have. That's just one you're running temporarily. And that form you're running, you don't remember much. There's a primary implant that we'll get to at some point. Or you'll get to it on your own with help from friends from out of town I introduce you to, but probably you'll have to do it through one of these journeys. Because the principle is, you can go anywhere in the multidimensional universe you can imagine. If you're not aware of what these planets and places look like, you can't go there. The hue will not take you. You have to first, it's like prayer, you have to first say, I want to go here. And you see it. And then it takes you there. So my work is to help people recover the ability they should have been taught from birth. And they weren't. They weren't. I wasn't. So you can imagine what I might have had to go through just to do what I'm doing now to help you. It wasn't easy. No. I was put on Earth without my permission in a quite horrendously bad way, but so were a lot of other people. That is a secondary implant removal journey.
Right.
Now, I can make this private. It's your choice. Or I can make it public on my YouTube channel.
At this stage, I might just so that I can view it again and you can look at it, sort of thing.
So,
I might just, yeah.
And for now, this is so personal and so private. I've actually done some secondary implant removal journeys with just 3 people that would show up. 3 women or a guy, and I would take them on one of these lifetime reviews. Just it starts to open the door.
Yeah.
But I get rid of all 3 of the secondary implants. We do that. But I only review 1. You had 3.
Right.
In other words, you got to see bits of all the lives that were hidden behind those negative images. Now, those doors are open, Vince, so on your own initiative, you can go back and view those parts of those lifetimes that were revealed to you, and you can run them forward or backward. You just
Right.
have to have the tenacity to keep your body asleep, stay conscious because you're not a body. And then you can go with me, or you can go, say, with Ramu or Pelham or Et-and-Din or any of the master teachers, Satnam or Tyrellian, and go and explore these. The real purpose of this is to make you smart again here. And those lives that had this brilliance, photographic memory, and all this stuff, that were so much longer than lives on Earth, are your lives. You have a right to that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get feedback from people who do this journey as to how it changes them?
I watch how it changes them over time. They are aware of stuff now they couldn't even conceive of when they first met me or crossed paths with me. They didn't even imagine any of this. They couldn't. They're too afraid. It's really subconscious fear. I'm not talking about conscious fear now, Vince. It's subconscious influences
mhm.
that kick into the nervous system when you get an adrenaline rush. Oh, I think I'll go watch this movie. I don't want to face that. I don't want to see what I was before. That's why people attach themselves to faith-based religions. Because once they do that, they do not change, they do not grow, they do not evolve at all. They just stop. Because it's easier to believe in something you'll find out after you die. That's a primary implant influence, by the way. It's a lot people on Earth have to go through. There's nothing wrong with the religions or how they believe or anything like that, but they're dead because they're not giving people the direct awakening of the understanding and knowing of what they believe in. Faith is only good if it leads to direct experience. Otherwise, it's just kind of a stuck place, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not any for or against any religion. I'm not trying to get anybody in or out of religion or anything like that. But enlightening people in those religions is necessary if people on this planet are going to survive the next few years. Fortunately, we're not alone in the universe, or we'd all be dead already. That's pretty obvious to most people. They just don't want to face it, but it's true. So I'll bring this recording to a stop.